Hello everyone and welcome back to the Great Book of Grudges. My name is Nathan and today we're going to have a little bit of a discussion. You see, yesterday Creative Assembly put out a little bit of a statement in their forums, by the way, not in Twitter, Facebook, all the usual stuff where people would see, which honestly doesn't make a lot of sense to me considering, well, yeah, not everyone checks the forums. Not everyone really knows the forums are even there. But this was in reference to a petition that was started by Legend of Total War. You see, Legend posted a video recently regarding the barrier to entry for Immortal Empires. This is not a new topic, by the way. This is stuff that I've posted about weeks ago, months ago. Some other creators have done this too. This is a common thing. It's only becoming more apparent now because, well, the player base is kind of dwindling, and the fact is that the majority of the player base just want the Immortal Empires. But when it comes to newer players, this becomes a bit of an issue, considering that you need to buy free games to get in there, and yeah, Warhammer 1's not worth the money anymore. I'm sorry, it's been 6 years now. It needs to be reduced in price heavily anyway. So after a few days, Creative Assembly finally gave a little bit of a statement. It's kind of surprising that they actually gave a statement, considering that normally they just stay quiet. And the statement goes as follows. I'm going to read it out just in case you're just listening to the video rather than just watching. So, this is from CA Yui. I have some insight to add to this topic. The discussion about the barriers of entry into Immortal Empires began internally at Creative Assembly shortly after its launch and has been an ongoing and evolving conversation since then. We recognize that it's important to many of you, so we are very much taking the time to fully discuss the implications of the change. Time, risks, resources, benefits to the players, etc. before committing to a course of action. The discussion hasn't concluded yet, but we wanted to make it clear that we are aware of your interest and assure you that we'll continue these discussions in the new year. Okay, fair enough. But there's a few things that really need to come into question here. First up, and this is the most important thing to me, which is why I'm kind of annoyed, is why did this only come in shortly after Immortal Empires launched? Why was this not thought about when you decided this is going to be a free game series which was going to be all linked up? Are you telling me that the 10 years, yes, it's been 10 years since they've started production on this series, none of Creative Assembly staff have literally had this thought? I mean, I'm not surprised considering that Rome 2 is still a fully priced game, and I'm actually really shocked about that considering the shit show that launched with it. But I've said this many times, hell, even before Warhammer 3 released, it's going to be too expensive for most players. If you're trying to get new players, which obviously with a series, you're always trying to get new players to get some more revenue coming in. 180 euros is a lot, and then you have to take account all the DLCs. And before someone says, oh yeah, sales, it's not about that. It's not about that. Not a lot of people know about how commonly Creative Assembly go on sale. And just because you own all three games doesn't mean anything. The fact is, newer players are going to see that price tag and go, what the hell? Then let's just move to the other section. The whole time, risks, resources, and benefit to the players, etc. Right, time, yes, that could be a thing. If they just say a statement that that's going to happen eventually, we'll all be happy. Risks. What exactly are the risks? They've got loads of stuff in place to stop people from being able to unlock other DLC with mods. This has been a thing since Warhammer 1, so I'm not too sure what the risk actually is. The problem with Creative Assembly sometimes is that their version of transparency is extremely opaque. Then resources. Again, resources are a thing, and that kind of falls with the whole time section, so there's not really much to talk about there. They'd have to see when they could make this a priority and so on, and yeah, again, time. Time is the main thing. And then finally, benefits to the players. What do you have to talk about to realize that the majority of the players want to play as Immortal Empires? I mean, that's the big mega map. That's the thing that everyone has been really waiting for. And like I said many months ago, it's not just a benefit to the players anyway, it's also a benefit to Creative Assembly. If the players can jump in directly to Immortal Empires, they'll be playing against loads of different factions and different lords. And that will incentivize people to buy more DLC. Because while, yes, the Realm of Chaos map does have a lot of different races there, you'll be more incentivized to, say, buy Taurox if you fight Taurox. I mean, that's what makes the most sense to me at the very least, right? The other benefit, which we discussed yesterday, and I need to echo once again, is if Immortal Empires is a base game feature, rather than being locked behind free games, well, that means Creative Assembly can make DLC for Immortal Empires and there won't be backlash. Because if they decided, oh yeah, we're going to do Dogs of War, Southern Realms, Estalia, Talia, whatever, right? And then they come out and say, yeah, it's only for Immortal Empires, and you're telling me, okay, so I need 3 games, 180 euros worth to be able to get this. Yeah, no, I'm going to be mad. You're going to be mad. A lot of people are going to be mad. If it's just a base game feature, they can go, yeah, we're going to do Immortal Empires only specific DLC, and we're done. And like everyone will appreciate that because they've not had to pay for the games to get in. What the game should be there for is just unlocking the races. I had a lot of fun with Warhammer 2, so I don't regret buying Warhammer 2. I had a lot of fun with Warhammer 1 back in the day, so I don't regret buying Warhammer 1. So naturally, I already have access to these races. But say, for example, someone who's only bought the game because of Game 3 then comes in and goes, oh, you know, I'd be interested in trying out the Empire. They buy Warhammer 1 and they'd go, oh, look, I get access to the Empire, the Vampire Counts, the Orcs and Goblins, and the Dwarves. Well, the Dwarfs aren't really in a good place right now, but that already incentivizes you more because you've been able to play against them more, deal with more things, see them in a new light, because if you see them in Realm of Chaos, they normally die out quite early on, or you just might not see them. This just is better for everyone else. Anyways, it's not all doom and gloom, right? Despite the fact that they should have actually thought about this in earlier times, you know, a few years ago, they're thinking about it now, and that's the most important thing. It's just one of these things that we don't know when we're going to get a response, so don't expect any update on this for a while. It could even be months, because that's what happens kind of often with Creative Assembly. Like I said, the transparency is getting a lot better, and I've said this a lot of times. In some cases, it's very opaque, and this is definitely one of them, which is understandable, as I imagine that they won't be able to confirm or deny anything because it's not just Creative Assembly staff that have to like confirm this or the higher-ups at CA. This will likely have to be passed by Games Workshop and Sega too, because Sega are the ones in charge of CA and Games Workshop own the IP. So yeah, we're going to have to wait and see, but I'm just going to echo the sentiment once again. If anyone from Creative Assembly is listening to this, it would be great for the player base. It's definitely a lot more incentivization for people to buy DLC, and the idea of being able to have Immortal Empires based DLC might actually do you a big favor because it will open up the world a little bit more. It'll give you more reason to have more DLC for areas that aren't covered in Immortal Empires, and it should help you get a lot more profit as, say for example, if you decide to do Amazons because now you could, well, there you go, an Amazon's DLC, they're based in Lustria, you don't have to do this weird thing about trying to make sense as to why they would end up in Grand Cafe or whatever, and there you go. I'm just using Amazons as an example because they're the first things that popped into my head, but you know what I mean, right? This should be better for everyone as a whole. Take it into consideration at least, please, and to everyone watching this video or listening, because it's not really a watching style video, let me know your thoughts, respectfully speaking, in the comments below. Don't make this about flaming CA, because at the end of the day, there's no point, right? Just attacking each other for the sake of attacking each other is freaking useless. Let's try and have an adult conversation, which, yeah, you know, it's YouTube, so I'm not keeping my hopes high, and let's just try and offer constructive feedback. But with all that being said, I'll see you all again very, very soon. Have a good day.